Hi, welcome to another vividaquariums.com video. I'm Dave, and today I'm going to set up our store display. This is a new Red Sea Max S400. It's a 110 gallon all-in-one aquarium by Red Sea. I'm going to take this opportunity to talk to you about setting up live rock and setting the rock into your aquarium. Now, a couple of things. Either you want to set the rock into a bare bottom tank like this, or you can put the sand in first. But if you decide to do that, you want to make sure to wiggle the rocks on the bottom layer down through the sand so that they make complete contact with the bottom of the aquarium. This prevents the rocks from toppling over if gobies or something should dig under them in the future. Now, today I have a bunch of Tonga fusion rock. We're going to use this. This has actually been dried out, so we're going to start this tank with dry rock, which eliminates bringing any aptasia, bristle worms, different crabs, and unwanted pests and parasites into the tank. So we're going to start with a blank canvas, and we're going to get started now. Get some gloves on. Main thing to consider, you want to have a rock structure with some caves and crevices and ledges to create hiding places for your fish. You want to make sure that you have rock work. Usually you don't want it to be too steep. You like to create kind of a series of staircases or different levels of rock so you can mount corals on them. Now, mind you, there's a million ways to do it. This group of rocks right here could be set up hundreds and hundreds of different ways. So I'm going to do my best just to give you an idea how we do it and hopefully show you some helpful pointers. Got a couple very big pieces we're going to use for the foundation. And this is a nice big one. Main thing when you're putting a rock in a glass tank, support it carefully because you never know, it could break. And if this was to land in the bottom of that tank, that would be bad news. Now obviously, this doesn't come with a set of instructions. I have no idea how I'm going to actually put this together. And a lot of the fun of actually setting up your tank is taking the time to fiddle with it and decorate and taking rocks in and out to get it just the way you want it. I mean, a hobbyist at home, a lot of times you'd spend a good Sunday, Saturday afternoon doing your tank. When I set up my first tank, I probably redid it at least 3 or 4 times until I got it the way I wanted. So, see what we have to choose from here. One thing I want to consider is I want to make sure that the tank is easy to clean. So I don't want to get the rock too close to the front glass or the side glass. I want to leave at least probably 3, 4, 5 inches between the rock and the glass just to make sure it's easy to clean. If you get it too close, it's kind of hard to get in there to clean the tank. So that's something to consider. And usually I consider where I'm going to have the front corners of the tank and how far out I want to bring those. And then also just do the bottom layer first, and then we're going to use some rocks on top to kind of bridge across to create some passageways and caves for the fish to hide out and hang out in. Definitely something you got to take your time with. Here's the first time I've done it on video. Normally I will spend easily an hour, hour and a half setting rock in a tank like this. But you just got to fiddle. You can't be in a rush if you want it to turn out right. And got to get creative. Look at each rock and think about which angle or which way it might look the best. You want to play around with it, and you want to make sure that you're building the structure at the end of the day that's secure. And we'll talk about later how to firm it up and make sure to make it something that's not going to end up toppling over on you. But on the bottom, I like to have something ledges low that I can put chalices and zoanthids on. And then again, we're going to create some ledges up higher in the tank. So at this point, I've given you some basic tips. I'm going to go ahead, we're going to probably play this video in kind of a fast forward so you don't have to sit here for an hour watching me. And I'm going to work. We're going to try to get this together, and then we'll cut back at the end. We'll talk about a few added tips before we wrap it up. All right, guys. All right, now I'm going to show you a trick. I have this rock right here, and it's coming a little closer to the edge of the tank than I like. But I'm happy with how this structure is. It's not too steep. I have a lot of ledges and places to put my coral. But I'm going to go ahead and knock that off. So, good tool to have around is a concrete chisel. So, chisel like this, you can set that rock, and we'll try to do it carefully so I don't break it in the wrong place here. It could be as simple too as a hammer maybe. Just see if what happens here. There you go. That was hard. Now, when I put this rock back in the tank, I can get it to fit into my place and it won't be too close to the edge. So using a chisel to modify the rock a little bit, fix the shape, nothing wrong with it. You can break it however you like. And now I'm much happier with the structure. We're going to go back to fast forward speed now. Just fits like a key on a lock almost. Alright guys, you see I'm a little sweatier than I was when we started this video. But have a basic structure here. Obviously, like I said, there's hundreds of different ways you could do it, especially given each set of rock. If I redid it again, it would never be the same. A lot of it is fiddling and thinking about what you want. Main thing I want to consider is I want to leave space at the top of these rocks. If the water level is going to be up here, I want to leave space for mounting corals on top to give them a chance to grow out. And also remember that areas like this, to me, is kind of boring and flat, but that doesn't mean we can't glue a beautiful coral right there and cover it up. So you got to remember that the rock alone is just the skeleton of your reef tank. And basically a good skeleton means you have different levels and platforms. So I can put corals down here, I'll have something else up here, over here. We can have lower light corals down here shaded. We have places, nooks and crannies for different fish to hide out in. A big cave, it's very open back in there for fish to hide. They can exit through here, they can exit through the sides, so they can actually really circle through the tank very well. Just, again, lots of different platforms for different types of coral, and different ledges. Not too many steep sections. You know, again, that's harder to mount corals on, and the light doesn't hit them as well. But I think I'm pretty happy with this for now. So we're gonna take a quick break, cut. I'm gonna get some putty ready. We're gonna show you how to firm up this structure to help make sure it stays as you put it. We'll be right back. All right, guys, so I've mixed up some of the Aquascape construction epoxy now. And you don't have to use this when you set rock in the tank, but I prefer to go in and use a little bit, a couple sticks of it, to just firm up the structure. I'll start by putting some along the front where the rocks meet the glass to help prevent them from wanting to slide forward. And then I'm just gonna go in and shove it between the joints between these rocks to make it a more solid structure. And it goes a long way towards keeping things in place as the reef ages over time. So you see I'm just pushing this around. This is all gonna be covered up under the sand, mind you. But that's just firming it up. Just any little nook or cranny, you can take a little putty, put it in there, and that all of a sudden the rocks are going to stop wiggling as much. Most of these rocks fit together pretty tightly here, but there's always going to be a few that are slightly wiggly. And this putty stands out now, obviously, but as the tank matures, it's going to blend in and get covered with coral and algae. So you don't really have to worry about that in the long run. So we don't have to do the whole thing on camera, but you get the idea. I'm looking for rocks that are wiggling. You'll notice as I was setting the rock, I took and I hit the structure to see that things are solid, that they're not moving. You're not going to hit it super hard, but you're going to tap it to see that things are staying in place, that they're not wobbly. And when they are, that's where you can add a little putty and help to firm it up and make it stronger. You don't usually need too much putty, but just enough to keep things sturdy. That's about it. We're gonna take another cut here and we're gonna get some sand ready and fill the tank with sand. We'll be back in a minute. Now we're ready to fill our tank with sand. We're gonna use Carib Sea's Fiji pink sand. I like this because it's a nice consistency, not too fine and not too large. It's something that gobies can sift and keep clean. And we're using many tanks. Definitely looks great. So we're gonna go with that. We're just gonna do a thin layer, about 1.5 to 2 inches deep. And that's about it. Mind you, one final note too on the rock structure. We did keep a pretty open structure, which is important for water flow. You want to make sure that you're going to have current throughout the tank. And with this tank, there's some closed loop intakes behind this rock work. It's going to draw water through the rocks and from inside the cave there. So that'll help give good circulation throughout the tank for us. Now, time to put in some sand. right. All right, so finally we've finished setting the rock in our Red Sea Max S400. This is a 110-gallon tank. I put about 70 pounds of live sand in there. Seemed to do the job, about 1.5 inches deep. And we have great structure to start mounting our corals. We're going to do some future videos where we mount corals in the tank, and we'll bring you updates on this tank as it progresses over the coming months and years. Hopefully you learned something. Main thing is just make a solid foundation. Use your hand to tap the rock around and make sure that it's solid. You don't have wobbly pieces. And then if stuff is just a little wobbly, you can use some putty, as we showed you, to firm it up. Put some putty along the rocks below the sand line to help prevent them from sliding or moving around on your base rocks. And then pour the sand around and start cycling your tank. Be patient, take the time to cycle it correctly, and then you'll have a beautiful reef. It'll be well worth the wait. All right, guys, thank you.